Alright, so creating a simple text editor that allows a user to input text, delete the last character, and undo the last operation. Your task is to use a stack to keep track of the changes made to the text so that you can undo the last operation. Alright, so define a text operation class. Let me see, putting blue jay here. Or a structure that represents an operation performed on a text. This class should include information about the type of operation, add or delete, and the character involved in the operation if applicable. Let me call this a text editor. Let's say name of the project itself, and you need to create the class text operation. Okay. So I'm gonna say public class text operation. So if I have to include information about the type of operation, and let me do this by improving the type safety. So I'll do like an enum here, and I'm gonna call this like this work. Let me see it. Operation type, and I'll say add, right? Delete. Okay. And let me say as well private final. Let me say the operation type. Okay, and let me do the character involved in the operation. Say char and say character. Right? Why is it doing this? Alright. So let me create a new text operation here. Let me say it's constructing here, right? Let me say let me pass here operation here. Type, say type. Say char character. So in this constructor, I say like this type is equal to type, and I'll say this character here, is equal to character, right? And so now let me do some getters for this. So let me say public operation, right? So I'm going to return the type of this operation. I'll say operation type, and I'll say get type, and I'll say return type. Let's say public. So I have the operation type. So let me see public char. Character here. Sorry. I'm second. The character, yeah. I'm going to compile this. I don't think I missed any. I don't think I missed any instruction here. But let me I'll work on the next requirements here. So add text, implement a method to add a character to the text and record this action to the on the stack. Delete. So same thing, implement a method to delete the last character of the text and record this deletion on the stack. Implement an undo method that uses the stack to revert the last operation. Ensure that your editor can handle multiple consecutive undo operations correctly. Multiple consecutive undo operations correctly, and after each operation add delete. Yeah, I got a question. So like we're working, so I'm only working with like one character at a time. Can I implement like multiple characters, or this simple text editor only handles like one character per line? Okay, so let me see. What do I do here? What do I do here? So I have the text operation here. Let me create one more class here. Let me call this a text editor. Create a class here. Let me call this text editor. Let's say text editor. I'm gonna say public class. Text. And okay, so what am I gonna do? Let me do a string builder here. I'll say like private final. I'll say final as a string builder, and I'll call this like text, right? This text content like managed by this editor, so the current, right? And let me say private, right? Because I need to keep I need to keep to use a stack and keep track of the changes made to the text, so that I can then undo the last operation when required. So I'm gonna do like a private final stack here. Let me see, there's operations, will this work? And let me call this history. And if you're keeping track of it, we might as well call it history. And let me construct a new text editor, and I'll do this by running text editor. All right, and I'll say this the text equals text. All right, I'll say this dot the history. Since okay, that's a stack, so let me say like the history equals new stack. Let me see. Okay. Oh, this is probably because I need to import the stack here. Yeah, that's correct. So shout out to this IDE. Right, and so now let me work on the let me implement a method to add a character, and I run this by doing, let me see, public void, let me see, add char, let me just call it char, and in this char I'll say, in this parameter I'll say c, like c, and I'm gonna append, right, I'm gonna say text, I'm gonna append c inside it, okay, and all right, I'm going to record this action on the stack. So I'll say history, yeah, like history push. Yeah, let me like push this. Let me push. Let me say. Let me say the operation type. The operation type here is add, right? Let me just double check that. It's add. Oh, some errors here. Where am I? Yeah, it's add. Okay. The operation type is add. So say add, and I'll pass the C here. Okay. And what is this here? It's bugging me here. Variable net text might not have been initialized. Initialized? Wait, this is a string build. Oh my, do I have to initialize here a string builder? Oh man, don't tell me I have. Do I? Ooh, what a blunder. Man, if it wasn't for the IDE, if this was like an interview on a whiteboard, yeah, I would have definitely failed this interview. Man, what a blunder, what a blunder. Anyways, so yeah, let me work on the delete here, and for the delete, let me say public void, let me say delete char. Yeah, char, let me say char. Let me say, do this like this. I'm pretty sure in the live session, my interviewer would probably like pointed that out, or maybe help me with that. I think I'd definitely be open to get some help on that part. But I'm gonna say if the length of the text here, right, is like equal to 0. To 0. I'll just I'll just like return, essentially. Just return nothing, right? Deletes nothing, essentially. Then I'll say, let me see some lines here. And I'll say, let me call this removed, and I'll call this removed, and I'll say if the character right inside the text so what I want to do is like to remove, right, to remove the last character. I'm going to say like this, something like this, right? So what I'm doing here is kind of like, how do I say, what kind of analogy can I use? Kind of like dishes, like plates. What symbol can I use? Let me say like 0. Let me see. Right, in a stack. So imagine this is the first plate, right? Then goes the second, the third, the fourth, and the last. So the last plate on a stack, right, is the first one out. When you want to remove a plate, right, you're gonna remove a plate from the top, right? So, and I'm gonna pop this. When you pop it, right, you're gonna remove the plate. Boom, pop, right? Now this is the last plate. You want to remove it, pop. When you pop, it just removes the last, right? Pop, right, pop, so on. Okay, and I'll say the text. What I'm gonna do here. The delete char. So I gave the analogy, and so now I'll essentially char it. The length of it, right? Okay, and um, I'll say the history here. Let me push. Push. And then push like a new text operation here. And let me say the operation type here. In the operation type, I'll call delete. Right? I'll call delete. And of course remove the missing here. There we go. And then this should be typo. No, it's not. Okay, let me do something like this. No, actually, let me do it. Let me say like this. Some mistakes here. So seriously, start avoiding these silly mistakes. Okay, there we go. And so the delete and so I have to delete, and now let me work on the undo. We have the undo here. Alright, so for the undo, let me say public void. What do I call this? Undo. Let me just say undo. All right. Yeah, let me say the history in this case, because I'm going to implement it into a method that uses the stack to revert. So for that, the last operation. First, the last operation ensure that here the editor can handle multiple consecutive undo operations correctly. Let me check if this is not empty, right? Because I don't want to have this function run all the unnecessary time. And so say let me just return this, right? its X operation here, and I'll call this here the last. Say the history here, right? Reverts, and I'll say I'm gonna pop here. This is like that undo analogy that I was giving. And I'll say last type here. And I'll say next operation, and I'll say the operation type here. Because it will do like, it will undo the operation type of like add, right? So I'm gonna say like operation type. Operation type, I'm gonna say let me say if the text save the text is greater than, let me say greater than 0. So what we do, what I'm doing here is so this reverts, right? This reverts and this reverts an add, right? The add removing, you see like removing, which is like this add here, the operation type, right? It reverts the operation type, in this case the add, and I'll say like removing the last character, right? Last character, right? And I'll say text delete, right? I'm gonna delete the char add. Reduce this to char, yeah. Okay, let me say say the length. This one here. Okay, and let me say, I'll give it an else here. And I want to say like text. I want to say character here. Okay. What do I have here? Oh, there we go. Undeclared method. Oh, there's a typo here. There we go. Oh, still. Wait, is it not get character? Oh, I changed it to get char. Okay, that was my bad. Changed to get char, yeah. All right, so the undo, and let me work on. Let me do this like this. So okay, let me work on the display. Right after each operation, add, delete, undo. So after each operation, display the current state of the text. So I'll do like a string, right? I'm gonna do a public string, which is what I'm gonna return, the type of data I'm gonna return, and I'll say get text. And I'll say return the text to string, right? All right, go ahead and close that out. Compile this. Looks okay. Looks okay. So let me go ahead and let me see here. So I have the text editor. I have I have actually the add jar, which is the method, the add method, the delete method. The undo here, which implements to okay. Let me create one more class here. Let me call this main. And inside this main, let's run some. Let's see how we have this running. Let me call this class main. And I'm gonna call you the text editor here. I'm gonna build your text editor, and I'll just call this editor. Right, and let me have a scanner here. So let me say scanner, new scanner. Okay, and then we have the system in here. Let me like pass a quick system out here. Just a welcome message here with the title. And what should I call this? Simple text editor. Let me just call it simple text editor. Simple text editor. Okay. What is this? Oh, I think I should import the. Yeah, I should definitely import the scanner. All right, there we go. And now I'm gonna like do some. Let me check here. I'm gonna do like a loop command here to help me right, guarantee, right? So like it just help me see like if the reader if basically reads the user input until like a flag is entered, and this flag could be any character, and like to exit, right? So I'm gonna say like while true. What can I call this exit? It can be Q, like Q for quit. So I'm gonna say let me see what, let me say, I call this CMD for command, short for command, and I'm gonna pass on the scanner here. I'm gonna say next line, and I'm gonna trim this as well. Okay, and I'll say, if the user like quits, right? Or in this case, like it quits if the user enters, let me say like maybe like Q, let's say Q, right? So I'll say like, what comment can I pass here? Yeah, let me say here, and let me say if it equals to, yeah, equals, right? Yeah, equals, I'm saying equals command, then I'm gonna like break this, and I'll write break here, right? I'm gonna say if so that breaks, I'm gonna say now let's add, right? So add, let me do this quickly like this add, say, let me say if like, so if the character like starts with A, right? Yeah, if it like starts with A, and let me also say I want to make sure that because like I want to make sure like it's like one character at a time. Let me save the length here. Right. All right, and say character C. Okay. Okay. This is and I'll explain why I'm having it at the index one, because I'll explain when I the logic here, because the logic is like, let's see, the idea is to, this is just a command symbol, right? So whatever character next to it, right, is what it's going to be stored. So that's like index one, right? Okay, so then I'm gonna say like editor, say okay, so that adds, let me delete, right? This deletes, and so this deletes, I am going to say, I'm going to say else if here, I'm going to say else if, right? So I want this to continue here because I didn't break anything. So say equals, oh, there we go. Yeah, so it equals here, dear, the command. I'm gonna say editor, say delete jar, just like that. That's it. And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say, this one does here. This one doesn't, so I'll say, I'll see on this. For undo for undoing it, I'll just use U. It's a no-brainer. I'll say like equals. I should probably just save this equal command here. Save me some time. And alright, so I'll say editor and I'll do the undo, right? Do the undo. Why does it always does? What? Alright, yes, yeah, so undo. Yeah. So we did the delete char, we did add char, delete char, the undo. Well, let's get the let me actually run a quick else here, and this is just to like handle like invalid commands. This is just to like handle invalid commands, and I'll just like I'll print say and just continue. Okay. Let me do a. Oh, there you go. Let me close this. Let's see, where am I? Am I in? Oh, yeah, okay, so let me close this. Okay, file this. What do I do here? What do I do here? Let me say. Okay. Let me improve the UI a little bit. Let me improve the UI a little bit. Let me say. Select text and select text. Let me do. Yeah, cause then. Yeah, let me do something like that, and then we do like editor, get text on it, right? Yeah, the state of the text, yeah, because we have to display the state of the text. Okay, so let me do that. Let me see. This work? Let me see how I'm gonna have this now running. Let me say. Okay. All right. Let me delete. Oh, nice. Oh, okay. So look at that. What else can I do? Let me do a undo. All right. Let me delete. Let me delete. Let me undo. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Oh, force of habit. So we have a somewhat working program here, simple working program. Let me add one more line here. This is just for instructions, and it's like for instructions, and I'll say, I'll say commands here. All right, commands here. And I'll say, do like this, right? To add, and I wanna emphasize. Let me do that here. To add, let me make sure. Let's see. No space. Right, and so delete, you to undo, and see Q to quit. Right. Okay. Okay. File this. Let me hit one more line here that was bothering me here because I just need to have this to. I think it might help in visualization here. Kind of like most terminals have this. So let me say. Hold on. Let me say. See. Okay. File this. Let me clear this. Let me run this again. No, it's a mess. But I mean, it's working for now. So let me just say. Let me type. Hold on. That's a mess. Okay. See. Do like to make sure. Yeah. Okay. And there we go. All right. So let me see the command here. Let me delete, which will delete the last. In this case, the exclamation mark. Let me undo, what would revert the previous operation. Do and quit, and we have a running program.